Welcome back to James's ride for Seduce Me to the Demon Wars. So we've had a really bizarre dream about James here. Like, super weird. Okay, so we can now decide to go back to sleep or to kiss him passionately. Well, he's topless. We're in the bedroom, kissing passionately. James didn't have to use his power to light a fire in me. I gently tipped my head back and kissed him, capturing his lips with mine lovingly. I felt my body slowly heat up, softly and tenderly, to make sure not to scare me. His enthrallment over me became a natural part of our lovemaking. It not only helped him gain energy, but it made the pleasure of our sex practically 10 times more powerful. As I moaned against his lips, James gently ran his hands down my back and over my rear, making me slightly jump in surprise at the feel. As he gripped it, I let another hot moan, and James smiled and chuckled quietly against my lips. I stared at the ceiling, lusting for James as he pulled away from the kiss and began to kiss over my neck. I absolutely needed this man, and I needed him now. My body pressed against his and forced him back onto the bed, allowing me to be on top and be in control. James stared up at me, still gripping onto my ass and gently massaging each cheek with his fingers with a smirk. We both knew he was always in control whenever we made love. However, my rebellious attempts at being top often spurred him on to be that much more rough in our play. It was like a game. Still, I like to think that I tried valiantly and not in vain. I moved my hands back and took his off of me, lacing our fingers together and pinning them to the bed beside his head. They didn't fight back against my hold, but James's face continued to intimidate me with a playful smirk and a dominating gaze. I gently leaned down and captured lips again, grinding my hips against him and slowing, and showing him the heat and desire I was feeling for him. His hands tightened around mine, I felt him gently grind back up into me, and letting his own desire rub against mine. My body forced me to pull my lips away, making me bite my lower lip in pleasure. The grind, before suddenly feeling myself being flipped over onto the bed with James smirking over me. I didn't care. I wanted him to take me in whatever position we ended up in. Rubbing my legs around his waist, I pulled James close and leaned my head up, brushing my lips against his. What are you waiting for? Take me.
As you wish.
Within mere moments, we went from grinding each other to moaning each other's names as we made passionate love. Our clothes were thrown around the room, but we didn't give a damn. We were busy. Every movement pushed moans and gasps from my lips, building towards a beautiful high as I moved against him and made him feel the same. Our sex wasn't just feel pleasure, it was our bodies melting and moving together in perfect harmony, with each moan professing our love for each other. There wasn't a single movement. Tired. There wasn't a single moment of silence between us, letting our love echo through the room. As we finally eclipsed in ecstasy for each other, we held each other tightly, not wanting to let go of one another. James had pulled up the covers over our bodies, and I made his chest my pillow. James ran his hand through my hair. His heated and worn-out breath matched mine as we both fell back into the darkness of sleep. The nightmare didn't return. I slept peacefully within James's arms as nothing else mattered in the world except for me and him. The morning was kind. James and I sweetly awakened before the alarm. Oddly, I felt well rested and ready for the day ahead. As I looked at James, who was still holding me, he opened his eyes slowly and smiled down at me.
Good morning. Did you sleep better?
I nodded, causing him to chuckle and kiss my forehead. My own lips curled into a smile as his lips touched my skin. I hugged him tightly, buried my head into his chest. Do we have to get up?
Unfortunately, we do. You have to organize more wedding arrangements, and I have to go to work.
Do you have to?
Yes, I do. Now come on, let's go.
I couldn't help but whine. I wanted to stay with James in bed just a little longer. However, since he was the CEO of the Anderson's toy company, he had many obligations to attend to. Not even his future wife could pull him away from those duties. As James sat up, he took me up in his arms and kissed me lovingly, making the smile grow back on my cheeks. I couldn't be annoyed for long whenever he kissed me. We went upstairs and had breakfast together before James went to work. It was always depressing whenever he left me alone in the house. However, he was a CNO and I was currently still in school getting a degree. Lucky for me, all my courses were online, so I didn't have to leave the house to get the degree I wanted. Attending classes in my pajamas was always better than having to put on regular clothes. I stretched and yawned, still slightly tired from waking up in the middle of the night. As I thought about that moment, I couldn't stop images of my nightmare flashing through my mind. Quickly, I shook my head. Nope. It was a stupid dream. Nope. Before that night, I had wonderful dreams of James and I preparing the wedding and eventually seeing each other at the church. He hadn't seen the dress, despite trying to, so he'd be stunned, and I would be blushing and smiling from ear to ear. That one nightmare, however, worried me. What if it was an omen? A sign? I wrapped my arms around myself, feeling a cold wave of nerves rush against my skin. My first instinct was call Naomi Zuzu, just to vent about it and get it off my system, but there was something so unnatural at work, they wouldn't understand. Closing my eyes, I made a decision. I took my phone out of my pocket and dialed the number onto my phone, without looking at it before bringing it up to my ear. The other line rang a couple of times before I heard a voice answering at last.
Hello?
Hey, Sam. Crap, I didn't know Sam was still asleep. Sam, is Carrie there?
Dude, why are you calling?
Look, I need to talk to Carrie. Now, give her the phone.
Sam, you dork. Give me the phone. I know it's her.
Doofus, calm down.
Mine. Haha. Hello?
I smiled. Carrie was Sam's wife. Yep, I said it. Wife. They had been married for almost a year, and despite sounding like they were always bickering half the time, they truly loved each other. Sam had met her while investigating a haunted house. She'd been there with an architectural consultant, and it clicked as soon as they both left. What was even more surprising about their relationship, however, was that Carrie knew what he was before he even confessed it to her. Apparently, she was a witch, a person being granted permission to know about magic and otherworldly creatures by the angels, and was gifted with both demon and holy magic. I only got to know about the otherworldly creatures because I was in a relationship with one and was marrying them. Hey Carrie, are you free right now?
Huh? Well, I kinda just got out of bed, but let me check my schedule, okay? Give me a sec.
I heard Carrie climbing over Sam at one point, making him swear at her before she groaned in defeat at the situation. Before he groaned in defeat of the situation. After a couple of book flips from the other line, Carrie finally cheered.
I don't have anything scheduled for work today, so I'm all free. What do you need? Wedding advice?
No. Not that. Mind coming over? I kinda want to ask you something.
Sure thing. Sam's got work today. It'll just be me. I'll even bring some pizza and stuff so we can have a fun girls' lunch. What do you say?
Sounds great. See you soon. The phone call ended and I let her sigh. This would be good for me. Carrie might be able to help clear things up. I decided to clean as I waited. The mansion was huge after all, and it was never stopped collecting dust. Soon enough, however, Carrie came by with 2 pizza boxes in one hand and a large bottle of pop in the other. You expecting booze there, weren't you? I couldn't help but feel my stomach gurgle at the delicious smell. She brought deep dish pizza. Yum. We settled into my room and made my bed into our picnic area. We laid our blankets so we didn't get any crumbs on the bed itself, but we liked our makeshift eating spot.
So, what's going on? Are you having premarital trouble?
No, it's not about marriage. Well, Carrie tilted her head at me, wondering what was the matter. I began to doubt myself. Should I tell her about the nightmare? Maybe it really was just a bad dream and I was overthinking it. I couldn't manage to think about what to say. Eventually I spoke up.
A nightmare? Was it really bad?
I'm not gonna lie to her. I'm gonna tell her I had a nightmare. It was a horrible thing. I nodded, remembering how horrified I was in the nightmare and visibly shivering in the memory. Carrie frowned and poured me a glass of pop.
Maybe I should have brought alcohol.
Yeah, you might have needed to, sweetie. Oh, no, it wasn't that terrible, I swear. It wasn't that terrible. You were locked in the cell, James was going to take your energy without asking, and he killed Diana. How is it not that bad? I rubbed the back of my neck. I had to relax. It was nothing. Nightmare. Nothing real. I should have been able to talk about it. I sighed and looked up at Carrie. It was about James. He Carrie stared right at me, unsure what to say. I continued. He looked cold and evil. Diana was there too.
Diana? The succubus that tried to take the boys away?
Yeah, she was in the cell next to me, but for some reason, it seemed like she was trying to protect me.
Protect you? How?
My mind instantly replayed the nightmare, flashing to when Diana gripped James's shoulder and I tried to pull him away from me. I couldn't have my body from wincing at the memory of her being shot by his gun. He came into my cell, he threw me, and Diana shouted at him to leave me alone, and then Carrie reached over and placed her hand on my shoulder, making me lower my head. It was strange to think of it, Diana protecting me. Yet I could feel the anger in her voice when James tried to approach me. She showed signs she'd wanted to protect me. He shot her with his demon gun, and then she died. He came after me.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
It may not have been real, but my body can help but quake in fear when recalling the nightmare. I shook my head and looked at Carrie and didn't know what was going on. Do you think this was an omen? This nightmare can't just be a dream. Carrie ran her hand through her hair and stared at the blanket beneath us. She bit her lower lip as she contemplated, which made me worry.
You said a jail cell?
Yeah, it was in a stone dungeon.
Like in a medieval castle?
Yeah. Carrie shook her head again and ran her hands through her hair once more before looking up at me.
I don't know if this is connected with that dream, but I've heard rumors about the Abyssal Plains being in utter chaos.
What do you mean?
I don't know what's happening exactly, but for the past 2 years, the demon world has been emitting some really bad energy. Even the angels are taking note of what's happening. They're even neglecting their duties to go to the demon world themselves.
That threw me off. According to Carrie, angels were extremely devoted to watching over the human world. They would never skimp duties to even think about the demon world, unless something big is happening. Carrie shook her head.
The only place I can imagine jail cells like that being used for prisoners is in the Abyssal Plains. But you and James are here in the human world, so it makes no sense.
Carrie abruptly moved from the bed and reached for her purse, digging through it and practically sticking her entire arm into it. I swear she was Mary Poppins, the day I saw her do that the first time. Apparently it was a demon-branded bag called the Endless Satchel, one found in the demon black market of the human world. It wasn't just a bag. Wait. There's a demon black market in the human world. Why didn't Sham use that? Right. It wasn't just a bag on the inside, it was a void. You could stuff anything in there and be able to pull it back out with ease as long as you pictured it in your mind. Carrie pulled out something wrapped in the dark green silk. As she unfolded the cloth, she revealed a deck of cards. On the back of each card was a black pentagram with small, almost unreadable markings around it. On the face, however, were different hand-painted images that helped me recognize it as tarot deck. They were worn, but they still emanated a power that made me shiver down my spine.
It's been a while since I've used this, but it might be able to shed some light on the situation.
Good, use it. I watched as Carrie held the deck against her chest and closed her eyes, muttering to herself. She then lifted the deck to her lips and kissed over the top before shuffling it. The cards practically danced and glided through her fingers as if they were alive, when she shuffled them in her hands. Eventually she stopped and the deck fell together in a grip. She gently drew 3 cards from the top of the deck, setting them down in front of her, and placed the remainder of the deck on the nightstand. She flipped over one, revealing a wheel with multiple symbols on it. As I stared at the card, the wheel seemed to spin on the face of the card, making me slightly dizzy. Carrie mumbled to herself as she examined the card.
The Wheel of Fortune. Could this be about the demon world changing? No, it can't just be that. Someone changed something in the past and disturbed the fate of the Abyssal Plains.
I wonder who that could have been. I looked at the deck, taking note of what Carrie had said out loud. There were many things that I knew that I had personally changed. I wasn't destined to get the Anderson toy company. I met the boys and learned about magic, and I was going through a big change in my life, my upcoming marriage. Shush, it's not you. Carrie moved her hand and flipped over another card, revealing a figure with a sword in one hand and the scale on the other. Staring at the card, I swore I heard angry whispers in the air around me.
Justice? What could this be about? Could the change in the past be something so big that it demands Justice's attention?
Yes. My mind began to replay every choice I made in life. And fast forward, my decision to let the boys stay, to defend the boys against Mike, to stand up to Diana, I can roll past my thoughts. Was one of those decisions one I shouldn't have made? Shush. I didn't get to think on it long. As Carrie flipped over the third card, it was revealed both Carrie and I gasped.
The King of Swords? But that card is not supposed to look like that.
A king figure sat on a throne with a large sword in his hand, as if he were ready to attack the viewer. However, the card looked like a black and gold demon I recognized. James? The pictures, despite being simple, was powerful enough to make a shudder run through my body at the sight. As we stared, however, the nightstone that held the remaining cards began to quake, forcing me and Carrie to look over in surprise.
What the?
The chariots on their own burst up and began to fly through the air frantically. The sounds of battle and war emanated from them raged through the room. Carrie quickly moved to shield my body with hers as she covered her ears. I covered mine as well, but that didn't stop the sounds of blood and clashing swords from digging into my senses. I could almost feel the heat and danger of the image of war. The sounds were paining against my skin. As the sound stopped, I looked to see the cards floating down onto us, now lifeless and all of them torn in half right down the middle. As they landed, however, I stared in shock at what I saw on each half of the card's face. Carrie looked up and gasped as well.
Impossible.
On half of the cards, I saw a girl that had my hairstyle, with streams of tears running down her face, leaning out towards the torn edge. On the other, I saw a weeping boy with James's demon horns and a crown on his head. He was reaching back towards the tears that divided him from the other of the card where the girl was. My heart practically stopped. Was this really happening? I couldn't believe my own eyes as I stared at the cards in front of me. My nightmares began to flash before my eyes, caused me to grip onto myself and shiver violently from fear, bubbling my core. Carrie quickly grabbed a hold of me and hugged me.
Hey, shh. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes the cards are wrong. This can't be right.
Carrie, the cards, sweetie, all became that card. That is not normal. They probably are trying to tell you something big is happening. And come on, what is the chances of this is all that they got this wrong? Come on, look at this. Look at that. Seriously, they got this wrong? How could I believe I was staring at multiple torn cards showing me the exact same message? I kept to Carrie, feeling extremely fear and sadness run through my body.
Hey, look at me.
I looked at Carrie. She gave me a small smile. She squeezed me gently into her hug.
Magic is fickle, okay? The cards aren't always correct. Fate can always be changed. Remember that.
Yeah, but somebody changed something in the past, meaning the fate's already been changed. I knew she shouldn't make me feel better. I knew there was something going on. However, the thought of my marriage came up. I knew that I had to calm down eventually. They were cards. My marriage was still happening regardless of what they say. I closed my eyes and started to ignore the signs, the cards, and the nightmare in my head. They wouldn't help me, and I had to prepare for my wedding. Carrie muttered an incantation under her breath, and when I opened my eyes, the cards had all disappeared. I hugged Carrie tightly, silently thanking her for moving them. I had to be strong. I had to. As the day went on, I enlisted Carrie to help me with the wedding arrangements. Surprisingly, we got a majority of the work needed done, so that gave us time to relax and watch a movie together before James returned from work. When to leave us alone, Carrie left as soon as he came.
Hey.
Whew, that was hectic. That was very hectic. Well then, everybody. Well. We shall, of course, see you guys in the next episode of James. Until then, bye-bye. Thanks for watching. See you in the next Seduce Me to the Demon War.